Is it the TV remote or the TV's remote? Is it the book cover or the book's cover? And if you think that's easy, what about the world end or the world's end? Well, in that last example, neither are correct. And hey, you're not alone. Many students have this problem. So in today's lesson, you're going to see how easy possessives really are in English so you can confidently use them when you're speaking English. Are you ready? I often hear my students saying things like, the dog of the sister of my mother. 8 words instead of my aunt's dog. 3 words. Why? Well, because they haven't learnt possessives. So before I can explain the TV remote or the TV's remote, let's first have a look at the basic way to use possessives in English. Okay, let's start with a quick review of singular nouns when a single person, animal, or thing owns something. In these situations, we just add an apostrophe and S to the end of the noun. For example, the King's Guard, a child's imagination, that author's books, Greg's Daily Quick Fix. That's my course that I run via WhatsApp for students who want to reach an advanced level of English. Now, that's okay, pretty easy, but what happens if the noun already ends with an S, like James, boss, Paris? Well, in these cases, we still need to add an apostrophe to show possession, but we have a choice whether to add an S at the end or just leave it. So we could say James's pen with just an apostrophe, or James's pen with an apostrophe S. My boss's chair with an apostrophe, or my boss's chair with apostrophe S. Paris's cathedrals or Paris's cathedrals. Again, either with the apostrophe or with the apostrophe S. Did you notice anything about my pronunciation? It didn't change. It's both James's or James's, whether we use an apostrophe or an apostrophe S. The important thing is that the apostrophe always comes after the final S of the noun. Okay, before I continue, as with all my videos, you can download a free PDF worksheet with all the examples, summary of today's lesson, and an advanced quiz to test your understanding of this lesson. Just click the link in the description, enter your email address, and I will send that worksheet to your inbox immediately. Okay, let's continue. Okay, plural nouns. By that I mean not one dog, but 2 dogs. Dogs is the plural noun here. Now, the rules change slightly here because if the plural noun ends with an S, which it normally does, we simply add an apostrophe at the end. For example, they are my dog's bowls. This sentence refers to 2 or more dogs and 2 or more bowls. Both tennis players' rackets were damaged. Again, this refers to 2 tennis players. My parents' house is in England, 2 parents. And over there is the student's classroom. Again, more than 1 student. So in the plural possessive sentences, we don't use an extra S and we don't pronounce an extra S either. We simply write a little apostrophe when we are writing the word. Okay, so what about the plurals that don't end in S, like men, women, people, children, sheep? These are all plural words. Well, in these cases, it's the same as with the singular noun. We simply add an apostrophe and an S. For example, the men's toilets, the women's World Cup, the people's choice, the children's toys, the sheep's wool. Easy. Now, it is going to get a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to give you a test at the end of this video, so you'll have a chance to practice all these different forms if you keep watching until the end. Okay, so before we move on to the difference between TV remote and TV's remote, there are a couple of more possessive forms we need to look at. Okay, so first let's have a look at some examples of when there are two or more owners of one thing, like Sarah and John's wedding. In this case, you see, we only make the final noun possessive. Sarah and John's wedding anniversary is next week. The kids love visiting their grannies, possessive. We just make granddad's possessive, the second noun. Tim, Joe, and Ben's project was finished late. Again, you'll see not the second noun, but it's the last noun in a group of people that we make possessive. Now, just be careful here, because when each person owns something separately, each noun does need to have the possessive. This is what I mean. Sarah's and Tom's holiday plans are different this year. So here, we're talking about Sarah's holiday plans and Tom's holiday plans, which are different and separate. They're not going on holiday together. Okay, Lisa's and Mark's bikes are locked up outside. Okay, two bikes belonging to two separate people. So we use the possessive for both of those people. Alex's and Maria's apartments are in different parts of the city. You get the idea. Okay, before we move on to the tricky part, let's have a look at proper nouns that have two or more words. Sounds complicated, but it's very easy. My sister-in-law, for example. It's one person, but it has three words. My sister-in-law. My sister-in-law's advice was very helpful. Okay? So, we just put the apostrophe S at the end of the last word. It's not sisters-in-law, but it's sister-in-laws. The vice president's office is on the top floor. Again, vice president, two words, one person, but we put the apostrophe S at the end of president, not at the end of vice. And guess what we do with best friend? No surprises, my best friend's wedding was a memorable event. Okay, exactly the same thing. Easy. Okay, before we continue, I want to teach you one of the most common mistakes in English, and I mean that native English speakers make. Okay, so if you want to have a better level of English, at least in this aspect, then keep listening carefully. I'm talking about the difference between it and its, which are both pronounced exactly the same. Look at this sentence. It's clear that the company Apple is proud of its reputation. It's clear? So what's going on here? Well, the first it's with the apostrophe S is not a possessive form. What we've done here is we've used the contraction of it is. That little apostrophe just means something is missing here. Okay? The letter I is missing. It's. On the other hand, it's, without the apostrophe, is the possessive form. So its reputation means the reputation that belongs to Apple. Why is this? Well, it's like my, your, her, his, our, their. None of those words have an apostrophe, and it doesn't have an apostrophe either. Here are a couple of more examples. It's remarkable how this bird can spread its wings so wide. It is remarkable, its wings. When a dog wags its tail, that usually means that it's happy. Its tail, the possessive form, it's happy with the apostrophe. Okay, possessive pronouns, things like mine, yours, okay? So like the possessive adjectives that we looked at a minute ago, possessive pronouns also don't have an apostrophe. Let's have a look at a few examples of this. That book is hers. Hers does not have an apostrophe. That cat on the wall is mine. Mine, no apostrophe. I wish I had a garden like yours. No apostrophe with yours. Our team has a plan, but we're curious about theirs. Theirs doesn't have an apostrophe, okay? But each of these sentences shows that someone owns something, but none of them need an apostrophe. Now listen carefully, because it's going to get interesting. Okay, so up until now, we've mostly looked at possessives of people, Lisa, Mark, women, the tennis players, okay, not things like TV or a table. So let's now look at some other types of nouns that can have a possessive form. So this will help us identify nouns that cannot be possessive. Okay, so first of all, we have collective groups and institutions, like a team, the government, a company, a university. These are all teams or institutions or groups of people. He had to wash the team's uniform. I don't agree with the government's policy. McDonald's menu is changing all the time. Harvard's admission test is difficult. Then there are countries and cities and landmarks, like China's economy is huge. I visited all of London's museums. Mount Everest's peak is the highest in the world. We were fascinated by the Colosseum's architecture. And then we have times and measurements, such as, I've got a full day's work tomorrow. The station is a mile's walk away. He was paid 1 year's salary. We also have celestial bodies, in other words, things in the sky and out in space. They can also be possessive. For example, the sun's rays are powerful. The moon's surface has many craters. Earth's atmosphere is 21% oxygen, if I remember correctly. So can any noun be used in the possessive? So can any type of noun be used in the possessive? No, it can't. And this is where we need to be careful. Now, there are many different types of noun where we can't use the possessive, and here are some examples. The first type of noun is inanimate objects. Like, what the heck is an inanimate object, right? Well, basically, it's something that you can see and touch, but it doesn't move, it doesn't think, it's not alive. I'm talking about things like a table, a rock, a hotel, a computer. With nouns like these, we usually use of to indicate possession, like the shape of the rock. Or we could just use the noun without the apostrophe S. For example, the legs of the table aren't straight. That's fine. But we can also say the table legs aren't straight. Both forms are correct here. The windows of the hotel are beautiful. That's fine. Or the hotel windows are beautiful. That's fine too. The screen of the computer is off. Or the computer screen is off. Again, both are perfectly fine and perfectly correct. The cover of the book was interesting. The book cover was interesting. Blah, 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 blah. You get the idea. Now, with inanimate objects, native speakers generally prefer to use the shorter version, as we always do. So things like table legs, hotel windows, computer screen, that is much more common because it's faster and easier to say. Now, sometimes using of with the possessive will sound very, very strange and unnatural. So shut the door of the car, we would never say that. Shut the car's door, well, that's incorrect because it's an inanimate object. So we have to say, shut the car door. Now, unfortunately, there is no definitive rule that is true 100% of the time for nouns like this. So you just have to try to follow the guidelines, listen to native speakers, listen to what you hear and what you read, and copy that. Now, some other nouns that don't use the possessive are abstract nouns. An abstract noun is something that you can't touch. Things like love, happiness, peace, knowledge. These are all nouns, but we can't physically touch them. They're abstract. And with abstract nouns, using of usually sounds more normal, like The Power of Love. Good song. Have you seen the movie the pursuit of happiness. The role of peace is important. He possessed a great depth of knowledge. Now, as I mentioned, there is no 100% rule that works all the time, so there are many exceptions to this. Like the word ship or boat. Okay, these are inanimate objects. We can touch them, but I don't think they're not alive. But they are often used with the possessive because sometimes we personify things. In other words, we give them names, we give them characters, we give them personalities. And we do this with boats and ships, like Boaty McBoatface. But anyway, saying things like the ship's crew are tired or look at that boat's sail sounds perfectly natural because we have personified the boat. So yes, basically, I'm telling you the rules, but as with many things in English grammar, these rules can be broken. So that brings us back to the original question and the title of this video. Do we say the TV's remote, or the TV remote, or the remote of the TV? Well, hopefully, after watching this video, you now know that the most natural way is the TV remote. The TV is an inanimate object, and why would we say, pass me the remote of the TV, 7 words, when we can just say, pass me the TV remote, 5 words. And in fact, when we're in the situation of asking for the TV remote, it's pretty obvious that if we're watching TV, the remote that we want is the TV remote. You're not going to be asking for the remote for the microwave. So in this situation, you'd probably say, just pass me the remote. Right. Try this short quiz to test your knowledge, to see how much you've learned in this lesson. And remember, there are many more questions to practice with in my free PDF worksheet, which I've made for you, which you can download by clicking the link in the description. It's free. Just enter your email address and I will send it straight to you. Okay, let's do the quiz. Number 1, identify the error in the following sentence. The girl's dress is blue. A, no error, that's fine. B, it should be girls with apostrophe S at the end, or it should be girls with simply an apostrophe at the end. Number 2, which of the following sentences is correct? A, my sister's-in-law's car is new. B, my sister-in-law car is new. C, my sister-in-law's car is new. Number 3, which sentence is correct? A, Sarah and John's houses are all large. B, Sarah's and John's house is large. Or C, Sarah and John's house is large. Number 4, which sentence is correct? A, that plant needs its leaves trimmed. Yes, it's grown quite tall. B, that plant needs its leaves trimmed. Yes, it's grown quite tall. Or C, that plant needs its leaves trimmed. Yes, it's grown quite tall. And question number 5, which sentence is correct? A, that desk's corner is sharp. B, the corner of the desk is sharp. Or C, both are correct. Let me know in the comments how many you got right. There's the worksheet for today's lesson. Make sure you download that for a full summary and more questions. And if you want more advanced grammar lessons from me, then click there next. All right, I'm going to watch TV now. Can you pass me the TV remote? Bye for now.